Welcome to the Edge of Show, your gateway to the Web3 revolution. We explore the cutting edge of blockchain, cryptocurrency, NFTs, ordinals, DeFi, gaming, and entertainment, plus how AI is reshaping our digital future. Join us as we bring you visionaries and disruptors pushing boundaries in this digital renaissance. This show is for the dreamers, disruptors, and doers that are pumped about where innovation meets culture. This is where the future begins.
Hi everyone, Josh Krieger, co-host of The Edge of Show, live at Hack Season in Dubai. It's a bustling week. I'm here with John Jones, the CBO and co-founder of Supra. Good to have you on the show, John.
Thanks, Josh. Always great.
Yeah. So it's been a minute. Catch us up on what's going on with Supra, of course, but just background information, those that don't know, what is Supra all about? There's a lot of L1s out there. I think over 75 now. What makes Supra different?
Sure. So Supra, we went to market as an Oracle years ago, but Supra is actually a fully vertically integrated L1 with native Oracle. So we have built-in system-level Oracle, like for example, price feeds, automation, as well as cross-chain communications. And I can talk about why that makes sense. But we're the polar opposite of the modular world and thesis, where we are fully vertically integrating these stack of Oracle services to make better applications on Supra. Specifically, we're spearheading DeFi in the beginning, and we're focusing on what we call execution quality. And we'll have better execution quality when you vertically integrate Oracle services at a system level on the L1 itself.
Yeah, so I guess that's like counter thesis to the idea of modularity and sort of giving folks more flexibility with what they need and what they don't need. Does this all-in-one solution service a particular segment of the population, or is it just one of those things where everyone can benefit from it? It's just what do you choose to use?
Sure. I would say, first and foremost, a lot of these high throughput chains, including Supra, Aptos, Swede, are all-purpose chains. But when you think about it, blockchain is all about the transfer of value. And so from Supra's perspective, we're really trying to spearhead DeFi first. We think that if you can do DeFi well, and you can focus on having the best execution in DeFi, you can also, there are other models and other applications that can now also build on Supra that can benefit from the same execution quality we can, and performance for DeFi.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And now you have, I guess your one of your exciting new initiatives is automating some of the stack.
That's right.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that's called AutoFi. So it's a new term. Of course, you had automation, DeFi, you combine it, it's AutoFi.
All right, something new to add to our crypto lexicon.
Yes, and hopefully this becomes something that, is ubiquitous.
You heard it here first, AutoFi. Okay, what's that all about?
So automation is something that traditionally is in the blockchain space. You have external protocols like Chainlink or Gelato that can do automated services. And automation is basically if this, then that. So you create conditional logic. And that's really powerful for blockchains. Now,
are you using AI to assist with this?
Yes, I'll get to that later. Okay. And that's interesting because being able to use your intent, like I want to do something and have AI craft an automation, that's actually where retail I think will benefit and use this the most. But what Supra does is we use automation at the system level. So our validators are not only running consensus on transactions, but they're also performing these automated tasks. So you can imagine that if you have one unified system that is, ordering blocks, creating a transaction, seeing Oracle data, but also automating a task, it can be done with very low latency. So there's that kind of that alludes to the fact that we have great execution quality. Whereas if you use the external protocol to get that data, there's latency there. Every external protocol you use, you're adding latency and worse execution quality. And why would users care? Well, if you have bad execution quality, you have latency, someone could, what we call MEB, right? They can MEB you, sandwich attack. I think a lot of, some people in Web3, a lot of people in X might have heard where this guy was transferring $250,000 in ETH, and he only got $12,000 in value. because someone front ran his transaction and he lost a lot of value. And that's like an example of bad execution quality. And that happens with added latency. And when other, traders see what you're doing, and see what you want to do, and they basically take advantage of you. So you can have better execution quality when you kind of integrate that into one stack.
Nice. So the potential for front running is heavily mitigated.
It is, yeah.
Cool. That's exciting. Well, congrats on that. And I guess anything else on the roadmap that you want to make sure we cover?
Well, so automation is going live on testnet today. So we've been live on our mainnet. We were the third move-based L1, like after Aptos and Sui, in MoveLang and MoveVM to go to mainnet. That was in November. But now, 6 months later, we have the biggest testnet upgrade since our token generation event. And that's having automation live on testnet. So automation and also our cross-chain communication protocol called Supernova, that together is just really huge. And so we have already a lot of teams that are starting to test and build it out. But I'm really excited to see the things that they built. One thing, and you did talk about AI, right?
Yeah.
And how that might kind of interact with automation, is that we have one project called Dexlin who built this chatbot where you can basically craft a strategy. Like, let's just say I want, hey, I want to be able to, if Bitcoin goes below this price and sentiment analysis is here, I want to be able to put 50% of my assets into stables, and I want to automate this. And you basically speak your intent to AI, and then the AI will then craft, using blockchain and logic, will craft your automation, and you can decide to hit yes, or you can then speak and say, no, I actually want it a little bit different. But this allows the general user to use these automated tasks that traditionally have been used only by high frequency trading firms, to actually, code this logic.
Well, so it's right. It's basically built into L1. You don't need a separate dApp for that.
That's right.
Very cool. So I guess what is the sort of volume of trading where Supra's at right now, and what coins can folks access through Supra and through your broader ecosystem? What are you integrated with? What are you looking to integrate with next?
Yeah. So first of all, so we launched 6 months ago, and our DeFi ecosystem is really booming. I did say one name. I don't want to do too many name drops at the moment, but we started with MoveVM, and we were kind of limited to the amount of builders and apps that actually build in the Move ecosystem. That's Aptos, Sui, now Supra. But we got about 20, 30 teams to actually commit to build, which is awesome. But we have a whole backlog of 100 plus MOUs of companies and builders that want to build on the EVM on Supra. So we're, in the next, little while soon, we also have EVM, Ethereum virtual machine, also live on our network. So on one shared security validator set, we'll allow different virtual machines. So Move first, and then EVM will be on testnet shortly. So that's when things get really exciting, because there's a whole new group of developers and teams that want to deploy, specific DeFi protocol on Supra, or a DeFi protocol that's already multi-chain, or NFT marketplaces that want to integrate with Supra, but maybe they want the EVM integration and not the Move integration. So we're giving developers a lot more access to deploy onto Supra without, it's very developer friendly to be able to support many VMs.
That's exciting, man. Well, appreciate the update. Always great to see you. If folks want to learn more about Supra, maybe follow you guys on X, follow you, where do they go?
Yeah. Well, Supra _labs on X. And you can follow me, John Evans Jones. That's Jon. Evans. I'm sorry, I'm not a part of the Josh Club.
No, and you're not a UFC fighter, but that's okay.
Yeah, but I do have the John Jones. So.
All right. The other John Jones, the John Jones of Web3. You heard it here. Good to have you on the show.
Let's take a pause to shout out one of our favorite partners. For tech innovators facing legal challenges, Zubul Lawler is your go-to law firm. They focus on understanding your technology and business model before addressing legal requirements. Specializing in blockchain, AI, VR, AR, quantum computing, and more, Zubul Lawler offers expert guidance in capital raising, IP transactions, M&A, litigation, and compliance. Visit zubullawler.com, that's ERLAWLER.com for cutting-edge legal solutions.
What's up, everybody? Richard Carthon here from the Edge of Show, live here at Hack Seasons. And I just got off a really awesome panel with Rachit. We talked about decentralization and why it's important and what's going to be happening next. But we had such a good conversation. He gave such great responses. I was like, man, we have to have a further conversation. Make sure that the world knows more about what you're doing over at Wormhole. So tell us a little bit about yourself and, a little bit about Wormhole.
I appreciate that, Richard. It was a great panel. Yeah. I had a lot of fun. Wormhole is an interoperability platform. Those are many complex words. Let me try to break that down for you. So think about it in a way where there's so many different chains, right? Like you have Ethereum, Solana, Base, Arbitrum. From a user perspective, how do you move funds from one place to another? That's where Wormhole comes in and Wormhole technology comes in, where you can transfer assets from one place to another. That's probably the most basic use case for Wormhole. Over the years, we've built up, tech stack to support developers as well. A very simple, basic instance of this is messaging. So if you're on one chain and you want to go to another chain, you need to make sure that both of those protocols or those instances are communicating with each other. So that's one of the things that we've built. Fun fact, Wormhole is actually the first bridge from Solana to Ethereum.
Wow.
And that's sort of the backstory and how we've grown over the years. On me, I'm the APAC lead at the foundation. I joined about 5 months ago. I used to work at a marketing agency before that. I was leading the growth team. And I started off in crypto in the VC scene, so I've been around.
You have, man. So
I've been around.
A well-rounded background, and being able to be the very first bridge from Solana to Ethereum obviously is a very big bridge. But I want to lean more into like what you're doing in the APAC. So as you're seeing the opportunities that are happening in this space, there's been a lot of emphasis in the APAC region. So what's happening over there, and why are you strategically focused on that specific region?
The world out there is wild, Richard. Like, you're based in the States?
I am.
Like, if you ever go to Hong Kong, the crypto scene is so different. Like, okay, so one of the basic differences that I've recognized is, in the States or in India as well, like, people love to back things that are doing multiple things. Like, okay, this thing's doing 4 different narratives and they fit into everything. In Hong Kong or in like APAC, they want to focus on one thing.
Yeah.
So in Hong Kong, what I realized was they recognized Wormhole with interop. And they actually understand what interop is, which was pretty surprising to me because, like with the Indian accent, it's really hard to say interoperability. So I thought, it would be really hard, but they actually get it.
Yeah.
So what we're doing right now is, since we're like in this post-TGE phase, Wormhole is an interesting part because we have a ton of users. Yeah. What we realized in APAC is a problem for a lot of other protocols as well, is our communication rails there are not very strong. Like we focus a lot on Twitter. We have really strong Western comms and English comms, but our Chinese comms, for instance, or our Korean comms or our Vietnamese comms, not up there. We've naturally had a community that's really engaged in all these countries. My primary job is to focus on each region individually. Each region will have a different focus as well. You need to create incentive structures, community structures, and communication structures so that Wormhole's mission is then portrayed effectively to these teams or these community members.
I really like that. Like, it's really important, the communication and how it is presented and bridging those gaps and understanding and even like what could make sense in the West may not translate over into the East and everything else that's going. So as you're kind of bridging that gap from a communication standpoint and from a focus standpoint, what's the messaging kind of been like so far?
Yeah, love the puns, by the way. Love you using bridging like 4 times, that sentence. But basically, okay, so Wormhole recently started working with Securitize.
Yeah.
Well, not so recently, we've been working with them for a while. But they recently tokenized the BlackRock fund, and we helped them go multi-chain on that fund. Similarly, Apollo Credit, also a big institution, big private credit enabler, they also came on chain with Securitize, and we helped them go multi-chain with our technology. That's been a really big narrative focus for these APAC countries. They instantly hear BlackRock, Apollo, they instantly associate credibility. So the crypto credibility problem is now started to solve with these bigger institutions coming up, where family offices in Hong Kong are like, okay, if BlackRock's tokenizing their fund, maybe I should be thinking about it.
Yeah.
And that's the shift that we're slowly seeing in APAC, where the Western legitimacy of like these bigger institutions is coming here. And then Hong Kong government is also pushing forward for that. They're actually going to launch their own stablecoin as well. So you'll see a lot of development come out, but it's always been a reputation and credibility thing. I think that's going away. And, platforms like Wormhole are trying to portray that message forward.
I think it's awesome that you're seeing so many of the institutional players, whether it be banking, whether it be these big financial institutions who are embracing and being like, hey, no, we're going in on crypto. Like, we're really embracing this. The fact that you're trying to create like, or Hong Kong's creating stable coins and these on and off ramps for people who are trying to enter this space, I think it's very impressive. And obviously Wormhole's been doing that a lot for not just people within the crypto space, but for those who are coming in and trying to go cross chain. So more generally outside of what's happening in APAC, like when you look at what Wormhole is doing at the time they're supporting it, it's 2025. Over the rest of this year, what are some of the things that Wormhole is focusing on?
For sure. One of the bigger narratives that we're focusing on this year, and this is something that Dan, our co-founder, mentioned in one of his blogs recently, we're thinking about activating fee switch, and we're thinking a lot about value accrual to the Wormhole protocol. That's one of the focuses. But if I talk about like the overall vision, like the 10, 20-year vision for Wormhole, we really want to get into this institution narrative. That's the number one focus for us. You know, we're working with BlackRock, we're working with Apollo Credit, we're working with Securitize really closely. We see a lot of the banks. Also, we recently announced with Mercado Bitcoin, so the biggest exchange in Brazil. So crypto is making its rounds around the world, and Wormhole is definitely going to make rounds alongside with it. So the fee switch side, definitely interesting for our community members. The institutional side, interesting for everyone else.
So with the emphasis going more into the institutional piece, for someone who's potentially listening to this and they're like, hey, actually, I'm trying to break into that space as well. And like, it sounds like Wormhole could be a great way to potentially help to get into that. So how are these kind of like partnerships and alignments with institutions being facilitated?
Yes. So technically it's very simple, Richard. Like we have this NTT, it's called Native Token Transfer. It's like a pretty simple UI. You and I could launch a token and go multi-chain in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But for institutions, they need a lot more credibility than that, right? So for them, the first thing that they want to figure out is, what chain should I go on first? All right. Traditionally, it's been Ethereum. We're seeing a lot more conversations where people want to come on Solana and do a lot more of those things.
Right.
But the first thing that institutions need to worry about is, what chain are you actually going on? After you focus on that, that's where a partner like Wormhole comes in, where, okay, you've built a base, you've built a home, and then you can go to 10, 15, 20 different chains. The biggest unlock for a, like a platform like Wormhole to work with an institution is that liquidity is really fragmented in crypto. And as an institution, why do you want to be married to one chain when you can get liquidity from every blockchain, right? So it is still recommended for an institution to think about one blockchain first, test the rails, understand what's going on, work with a partner like Wormhole or the Ethereum Foundation or the Solana Foundation, get into it, understand how it helps. The 24/7 market thing is something that institutions like, it's been mind-blowing for them, how crypto is 24/7.
Stress for them.
But yeah, pick your base and then think about multi-chain. Think about how you can access liquidity to your products.
Awesome. I think that's a really great explanation. Appreciate you breaking that down. For those who want to learn more about Wormhole and potentially connect with you, what are ways that they can do that?
For sure. You can message us on Twitter. So @Wormhole. Message me on Twitter, 0x Agarwal. You can actually message anyone from the Wormhole team. Like, internally we have this joke, like, if someone's not replying, we'll sort of call them out, like, hey, bro.
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah. So what happens is if you text someone and then you text me, I'm like, who did you text first? And then we'll call them out.
Yeah.
So culture is pretty strong. We're always helping our ecosystem projects and whoever wants to integrate.
Excellent,
sure.
man. Well, appreciate your time and appreciate you being able to access it, man.
All right. Thanks.
Hey listeners, are you ready to amplify your voice in a digital world? Introducing .podcast domains, your gateway to the future of online identity. Whether you're a creator, a company, or just someone with big ideas, .podcast is for you. Own your unique digital identity, connect securely, and explore hundreds of apps with no renewal fees. Don't wait for someone else to claim your name. Secure your .podcast domain today and be part of the next generation of content creation. Visit get.unstoppabledomains.com/podcast to get started. Again, that's get.unstoppabledomains.com/podcast. Your voice, your rules, your identity.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Edge of Show, live at Hack Season in Dubai at the Museum of the Future, where we're talking about the future. And I'm here with Igor Lessio, one of the core developers on Eliza. It's great to have you on the show. So I've been so impressed with the development of Eliza over a relatively rapid period of time.
It was very fast. Very fast.
Maybe give us let's just start with a little bit of your background and before Eliza and what got you excited about that project.
So I am an OG, 2011, but I am an AI engineer. So I am a Web 2 AI engineer. So our interface suck. There is no way to present to a customer an incredible agent that is this ugly. So I was looking for something that helped me fast track the interface for my own agents. And I stumbled in Eliza that was just come out from show, that is our founder, and I start to use it. And then I start to build on it plugins, and all my plugins, everything I build on Eliza is gonna go for the open source community. So I start to collaborate with them. It was very fast. From the first use to the complete collaboration took me just 2 months. And now I developed a part of the core, not all of it, of course. We are multiple developers, and we are now working on version 2. It is better, faster. You have real multi-agent system. Let's call it Swarm, but it's a little more complex, okay? And for the first time, multiple agents in your stack can collaborate between each other just because they exist in the same space, and you can control all of them from one single point.
So for those that aren't familiar with this idea of like these agents that can do different things, what's the sort of scope of possibilities for these agents? And is this in a technical capacity, or are these like consumer-friendly agents too?
No, we want to build consumer stuff, so it's B2C. The best use case is that any task that is, let's say, boring, okay, but that also is part of a production of content, any content, you can automate it with an agent. And the agent should be your private assistant, okay? So
your friend, your concierge.
Yeah, that it can do basically anything that have a connection. So any API, even the groceries.
Well, what are some of the most creative examples of agents that have been built with Eliza that you're just like, wow?
Okay. Everybody gonna start to build a trading agent because it's crypto. But my own case, I have agents that create data for me for my other agents. Meanwhile, I go to the beach. So my agent is taking my job, thanks God, okay, and I can control it from the phone. That's why I'm probably the only developer here without a laptop, because everything I can do directly from Telegram at this moment.
Wow.
So it's important that this technology get to the last mile and not stay only in the corporate situation, because every person can have advantage of this. Imagine you are in another country, you don't speak the language, but you need a lawyer, you need a doctor. If your agent can find it for you, you don't have to have problem of communication with anybody.
Makes a lot of sense. That's really cool. Yeah, I mean, I use AI to like actually give me a training schedule and recommended like food plans. I mean, there's so many things that you can do, but I think the shift here for folks is from independent query and prompting to automated ongoing tasks, right? Like things that you do on a regular basis that it would be great to just outsource to someone else so you don't have to think about it.
But it's not someone else, it's your own agent.
Yeah.
So your data are gonna be more private. You're not gonna distribute your things to anybody. Slowly, we're gonna go, to a more modular system where you're gonna have a very small entity that live in your phone, so your data stay there and communicate with other agents outside for the task that is not capable of.
Pretty amazing. And next, you guys are working on a Launchpad.
Oh, okay. So the Launchpad is out, it's beta still, so please don't get mad if you try to do something that still don't work 100%. But we was in a rush because the community wanted to have the Launchpad that is use a very different and peculiar way to launch the tokens, because now you can attach an agent to them. So you're gonna have already your agent working on your social media straight out of the box together with the launch of the token. This is very, very cool. And it's gonna be progressing together with version 2 that's gonna add even more specific agent for tasks, like, community management, marketing, project management, all this kind of stuff gonna come out of the box.
So what's sort of the ideal project for launching a token with an agent? Like, what are the types of things that you see coming out?
Oh, we start to see everything from the shrink, so a doctor, really a doctor, to a pharmacist, to any task that in this moment are covered by a KOL, for example.
So is the token to use the product?
Not really. It's more like to finance the project for the moment.
Support the project.
To have a token utility, we're gonna need a little bit more time. because you need to be embedded in the agent. The agent need to be know this.
And do you foresee like projects returning revenue to financiers, or like what's the incentive to finance one of these new agent projects?
Well, the incentive is that the company can coexist in a unicorn way. So you can be a solo person, you have a great idea, but you don't have the funds to access it. And if you are solo entrepreneur, it's going to be very difficult for you to access a VC. So the token for you is the best way to finance your project. And this is the easy way. But in general, attaching an agent to a token, even if it's an L1 token, okay, is going to be necessary because it's what is already coming, but it's what is happening everywhere. So if you don't have an agent that handle your community on Twitter, you're going to be a dinosaur.
Makes sense. Pretty exciting stuff. And I know you guys just keep building. How big is the team now, and what is next on the roadmap?
The full team, I think we are at around 25 because I change depending on the load. We are working now mostly on the Launchpad because we want to make it stable.
Make it.
Yeah, make it stable and then go back to the version 2. Me as an integrator, my main integrator, I'm already preparing new plugins. So team come to me to prepare the plugin for their chain. We're going to be fully integrated with version 2 in probably 60% of the chain that count between now and the end of the day.
Exciting stuff, my friend. And if people want to learn more about Eliza, maybe also follow you on X.
You follow me on X, iFlow, and or you can follow us anywhere. So ElizaOs on X, where you're going to find all of us. And if you want to know something about Eliza, go to Eliza How.
All right. Thanks, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Edge of Show. I'm Josh Krieger, your co-host for today. We are live at Token 2049 at the Hack Season Dubai event. And I'm here with Gaurav, the CEO of Ionet. It's great to have you on the show.
Pleasure meeting you.
So you guys have made big waves in the Web3 space over the last 6 months. I think I see articles about you all the time. But let's start with the basics for those that haven't been catching all the news. What is Ionet all about, and how are you guys approaching decentralized compute differently?
Fair. I think first of all, we'll tell you we're solving something which has already been done in a lot of other industries, and we're basically carrying on those fundamentals and one of the most critical areas in the world, which is AI and AI space, right? So AI needs GPUs. So irrespective of whatever AI project you're doing, compute is very important. Right?
More and more than ever before.
Yeah, ever before. And I see one pattern in industries that whenever the power is too much in the hand of few limited players, then they take advantage of it. So I'll give you an example of a different industry altogether, and then it'll be very, very easy to map it out to this industry also, which is compute, right? So I have a background with Amazon, Booking.com, eBay, HP, R&D and all, right? I've seen this thing happening in the past, right? So in a hotel industry long time back, let's say you come in Token 2049, and imagine Booking.com doesn't exist, all the local players don't exist. What do? You go to one popular chain like Marriott, you ask for a room, it's a popular event, everything is booked. You go to Hyatt, a different chain, everything is booked. Let's say you now land up in a third chain, let's say Kempinski out here, right? You ask them and they say only one room left. What do? You panic and you say everything is gone, limited inventory. When you ask the price, they charge you thrice the price.
Yeah.
And that used to happen in hotel industry. Right? Does it mean that when this event is happening, there's no empty hotels here? No, there are plenty. But you are only used to going to these three, and they charge you a bomb for it. Then what happened? Airbnb came, Booking.com came, and US Priceline came. And what did they do? They aggregated all this inventory, gave it to the users, created a fair marketplace both for supplier of hotels and the users. It's exactly the same problem here in the compute world. AI needs compute, and today compute lies in the hand of three players, and they share 65% of the market share.
So there's pockets of availability that the consumers are not learning about.
Not learning. So there are data centers which have a lot of inventory. There are software companies who have GPUs sitting idle there. They have inventory. And there are a lot of gamers who have inventory also, right? There are a lot of miners who have a lot of GPUs. The beginning should be that we should use this inventory as much as possible. So practically giving an example, the rate at which adoption is happening of AI and the rate at which the GPU are getting created is 2 to 3 times of a difference.
I see.
So this gap is not going to go lower, because in GPU business, there are only limited players who can make it. To be honest, the most powerful one right now is only with one player, NVIDIA. They have the whole market share, right? Secondly, there's trade wars happening, the raw material issue happening. So this gap of AI adoption and the raw material not going anywhere.
So your product's deployed,
Yes.
and what's been the traction and so far?
It's been phenomenal because we did something which customers were looking for. So we had a product market fit right from day one. So we have already made more than 11 million in T&E just in past 5 months. We're a 1.5-year-old project. We knew what we were doing. We had builders who have done it in the past. So in the first 1 year, we built the platform. Last 5 months, we focused on the revenue. 11 million T&E already done. The captured all the contracts, 35 plus million already there. So we're exponentially growing in this business. And honestly, this is not stopping, because this is a business where people come, first of all, they give you small orders, they see you're working well, and they come with the big orders.
So with that sort of early traction, what keeps you up at night?
Me, to be honest, I've been in crypto from last 3 years. I was part of the Binance team, and I'm fascinated by what decentralization and whole Web3 thing can bring to the customers, right? And I see the real value and finally something other than Bitcoin, which can actually help people. There's real adoption which can happen in Web3 from the Web2 world.
Yeah.
Like this is the actual product which will bring it, right? And I know it. So what keeps me at night is how can I migrate these Web2 people to Web3 fastest? So this traction is there, and we just utilize it as much as possible at the speed where we catch everything.
Mine, is it like paid advertising campaigns using Google Ads? Is it doing traditional, like we're at a Web3 event, or are you guys also going to traditional events, like more traditional tech conferences? Like, what are your thoughts on sort of the fastest ways to onboard more users?
We're doing combination of multiple things. So first of all, we had a good name in the Web3 side of things. So almost all the big AI agents and the AI players by default came to us. So we captured that market pretty well. In the Web2 side of things, we have a BD team. They knew a lot of customers from their past background. They captured it. And now the flywheel has already started. Now what we are doing is, because we know that this can exponentially grow, we are beefing up our team. We are doing this LinkedIn, Google, and all these ads, obviously. Now we're actually doubling it down. What we're doing is now we are using these channel partners, where we're going to channel partner, partnering with them, and their subject matter expert. They already have a big BD team, which are already trained. So we don't need to hire people in-house, train them. We're doing that though, but the faster way is with the channel partners also who are doing it from years and years. So we are doing that. We are hiring our BD team, beefing it up. All the popular channels, we are utilizing that.
And I would assume that the regulatory climate changes both in the U.S., in this region, and Hong Kong. It's just creating more opportunities, right? It's sort of reducing the barriers to entry.
Absolutely, yes. That's exactly what's happening.
So I guess at that point, like, it's all about sort of advancing the product, right? Is there various levels of sophistication? Like, how expansive is your technical roadmap for the feature sets that you want to do? And how are you thinking about the customer discovery process, given you already have product market fit?
To be honest, that's what the fascinating thing about this industry is, because we have a product, and now to bring customers in, we have the blueprint also. We are not imagining something that if we do it, the customer would come. We already know the blueprint. Why? Because these builders are using a bunch of products in Web3, and they're saying, please build the same products from the Web2 side to the Web3 side, and we are ready to come in masses, right? For example, simple concept like Kubernetes, VM, queuing some systems, some managed databases. All these things have already been done in Web2. So we know the blueprint. And the customer is saying, you have a compute, which is at extremely cheap price. We're ready to consume, but we have already gotten married to some of these products which are there in the Web2 side. The moment you bring them in your ecosystem, we can bring in a lot of business in. And we're just doubling down on that. And we have a bunch of engineers who have 10 or more years of experience just building this in the past tenure. And we're just following the same blueprint, building it. Boring stuff. But that's what keeps us exciting, but that will bring the revenue in.
Just keep building. So I had a chance to interview the CEO of Together AI at Leap. I'm sure you're familiar with what they're doing. Fastest growing AI company in history, 200 million in their first year. How do you relate your approach to sort of this problem to what they're doing? is there an intersection there? I mean, they're working with NVIDIA, OpenAI, a bunch of these projects. Are you looking at big partnerships like that? Or is it more about the broader market of potential users?
We were actually looking at a more broader market.
Yeah.
And honestly, we were looking at more of the startups, the early startups, the mid-level startups.
These are the lost soldiers. These are a lot of cases.
Exactly.
So I think, and that's probably similar than you and Aether as well. I mean, they're going a little bit for the bigger consumers. Like the smaller guys are getting, left to sort of get the crumbs, right?
The early startup and mid-level startup, the one which need help, honestly, a lot, right? Because they're being taken advantage in every way possible.
Yeah.
I normally give an example to people that all these AI companies normally spend like 50% of their money on just compute. Imagine you're a $20 million funded company and $10 million you're just spending on compute.
Yeah.
If you can save 70% of that money, you can hire a bunch of engineers, have a longer runway. And secondly, people don't talk about it. And I've been in that industry and I know. So a lot of the roles in these Web2 players, right, which is like architects, which are supposed to help these early builders who are sometimes doing their first projects. They're working in companies in Asia, countries in Asia and Africa where there's not a lot of software ecosystem. They don't know where they're headed. So they need the guidance. So there were roles like architects who are supposed to help them. And now these Web2 players use these roles to pull in more money from these startups. They basically guide them to use the product which they don't even need. So these companies just don't need this early compute, cheap compute. They also need the guidance of people who are there. So we're doing that as well.
It's a fascinating industry you're in, and some very unique dynamics. We could keep chatting for a while. I had one more question for you.
Sure.
In terms of ecosystem growth, typical programs are grant programs, subsidies, credits, incentives. Is there anything in that area that you're doing a little differently?
We're doing that. So we are giving credit points to people where they can use it for GPUs. We're also doing grants for the early startups, depending on the product. We just launched a project on a Launchpad where the early builders who have built a good product, but they don't know how to show their product to the market, how to basically bring it in front of the people. We do that also. So we have a Launchpad also where we just not guide these early builders, but bring them in the forefront also where they have eyes on the product and the whole ecosystem can grow. So we do that as well.
That's great. Really excited to see you guys continue to flourish and have you back on the show at some point. In the meantime, where can people go to learn more about io.net? I think the answer's on your shirt, io.net.
So please go to this website and honestly just try the product. Just try the product, you'll get your answers. If you need to know and learn more, you can reach out to us on LinkedIn. We have a good presence on X also.
Are you on X?
I'm on X.
What's your X handle?
Gaurav_Ionet.
All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us. That's a wrap for The Edge of Show.
We've reached the outer limit at the Edge of Show for today. Thanks for exploring with us. We have room for more adventurers on our starship, so invite your friends and cool strangers to join our journey. If you're among the hundreds of thousands following us on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, or watching us on Myco or YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, rate us, and make an awesome comment too. And don't forget to pass this episode along to a friend or two who would benefit from it. Doubling back to again, recommend checking out myco.io, where you can watch The Edge of Show and earn for your time and attention. That's myco.io. Don't forget to visit theedgeofshow.com. The is part of the domain name, where you can learn more about collaborating with us and also subscribe to the Edge of Weekly newsletter for the latest Web3 news, events, and show drops. In addition, connect with us on all major social platforms by searching for The Edge of Show. Join the exciting conversations happening online. Lastly, be sure to tune in next time for more great Web3 and AI content. Until then, keep pushing the boundaries. Thanks again for hanging out with us today. The views and opinions expressed on The Edge of Show reflect solely those views and opinions of the show host and its guests. Please make sure to do your own research. Our show is not financial advice. You understand that you are using any and all information on or through this podcast at your own risk. Whenever making financial decisions, we recommend doing your own research and talking to your accountant for financial advice. From time to time, we may feature sponsored content on the show for which we receive value, and we may share links for which we receive a commission if you make a purchase through one of these links. Refer to our website, www.edgeofnft.com, for our full disclaimer, terms and conditions, and privacy policy.